So what's next for Santos? Well, speaking of reaching out to George Santos, our political reporter Marcia Kramer joins us now. And you speak to him regularly, and I know because last night, full disclosure, we're sitting here live during the show, and your phone is ringing, and it is
George Santos.
And what's on his mind now?
Well, basically, he told me that he thinks that he got hooked up with what he calls some, quote, bad people. And his next step is to try to rehabilitate his image and to try to, I guess, atone for the things that have happened. As Lisa said, he doesn't have a clear plan, but I got the feeling that like there was a part of him that felt that it wasn't such a bad thing to go down in history as the sixth person to be expelled, because he would be in the history books.
Well, for all the wrong reasons, but yeah, he would be. Marcia, speaking of that, I mean, this is a Congress, razor-thin margin for Republicans, and yet there have been so many scoundrels through the history of Congress who did not get thrown out. Why this guy?
Well, I think it partially has to do with control of the House and the fact that the Republicans are desperate to keep control. But you have to also look at what's happening in New York, where the 6 freshmen, excluding Santos, the 6 freshmen have to face a tough re-election campaign next November.
In some blue districts there, yeah.
And since the districts are probably going to be redrawn, it's going to be harder than ever for Republicans to win. They didn't want to run with Santos hanging over their head and make it look like their ethics are to be called into question as well.
And we're going to have a race in New York 3, a special election coming up, and then another race in November. And you would think the previous congressman in that now redistricted district was Tom Suozzi, probably the most prominent Democrat. And you'd say, well, you would think the governor would swoop right in and say, let's support this guy, right?
Wrong.
It was leading the witness.
It is leading the witness, but it turns out sources are telling me that Governor Hochul has been desperate to try to prevent Tom Suozzi from getting the nomination, because he ran against her, then didn't campaign for her when she won, and she has a lot of bad feelings. But the truth is, they're ignoring her. And Hakeem Jeffries, who, as you and I both know, is the minority leader in the House and wants to become the majority leader, says Tom Suozzi is the best guy. He's a former member. He's a quasi-incumbent because he did represent that district before. And he's got name recognition. Not only was he a congressman, he was a county executive.
But that's a very tough district. That's a purple, blue, whatever you want to call it now. It could be leaning to the Republicans.
Well, here's the thing. It depends on who comes in to campaign. Now, what I was told was if Hochul decides to come in and campaign for the Democrat, that's a really bad thing, because they don't like her in that district. In fact, Lee Zeldin took that district overwhelmingly last time. And on the other side, if Zeldin were to come in and campaign for whoever the Republican is, I was told, quote, that's gold.
Well, Marcia, something tells me you're going to be busy.
I'm always
You're
busy.
always busy. You have to see Marcia. She never stops. Marcia Kramer, the best. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
All right. So what's next for Santos's district? You heard a lot from Marcia, but Governor Hochul says she will declare a special election as required by law. She has 10 days to set the date, which will likely be in about 6 weeks. And as Marcia clearly outlines everything for us, Democrats and Republicans would pick each pick a candidate to run for the seat. The winner would finish Santos's term in Congress and then have to start all over again. And as the race to replace Santos heats up, stay with CBS 2 for continuing coverage. We bring you the latest developments in the district and the legal cases Santos is facing.